Returning to our Genius Awards, to introduce our third honoree of the evening, let me welcome to the stage David Barry, the co-chair of our Board of Trustees.
Thank you, Paul. Everybody hear me? Leo Villareal is a Mexican-American artist whose work is featured in permanent collections in the National Gallery of Washington, D.C. and the MoMA in New York. Leo has created some of the largest site-specific art world installations in the world, like the Bay Lights, which featured 25,000 LEDs strung across San Francisco's Bay Bridge to commemorate its 75th anniversary in 2013, and the Illuminated River, which spans 9 bridges in London on the River Thames, uniting the 9 into a single monumental work of public art. Tonight, we thought the best way to understand Leo's work and process is to hear from the artist himself. Leo, would you please join us on stage?
Thank you so much. Well, I'm very, very humbled and honored to be here tonight amongst these incredible people and in this amazing place. It's truly inspiring. I'm an artist that uses light and code as my palette. This started for me in a somewhat unexpected way. I was a kid drawn to this thing called Burning Man. And in the early years, in 1994, it was a tiny gathering with just a few thousand people. So someone said, we're gonna burn this thing out in the desert. It sounded very intriguing. So I bought a tent and headed out to the Black Rock Desert of Nevada. The first thing that happened to me was I got profoundly lost. It got dark, there are no streets, and but I thought it was very interesting that I could be that lost and have to relearn to navigate in this new kind of space. So by my third year out there, I decided to do something about this getting lost, and I created the equivalent of breadcrumbs for myself by making this beacon here. I took 16 strobe lights and a microcontroller in the physical computing lab at NYU. I sequenced it with 0 being off and 1 is on, and made this thing that I put on top of my mobile home. It was actually the first time I connected software and light in space. And it was very useful. I was able to get home at night, and my neighbors were also immensely grateful. So this led to, I took what I learned in the desert, and I brought it to the National Gallery of Art in Washington, D.C. So instead of 16 strobe lights, I got to work with 41,000 white LED nodes that we installed in an IM pay tunnel linking the east and west buildings. This was very exciting, and I was working with concepts of emergent behavior, using my own custom software and making patterns and sequences and making discoveries. So these building blocks were what I used to create what you see here, presented in a non-repeating order. This was supposed to be a 1-year project, and this was in 2008, and it's still there today. So it's quite exciting the way that these projects can become permanent and really transform spaces. A few years later, I was asked to think about the Bay Bridge in San Francisco as a canvas, and what would I do if I could work with the bridge? So I got busy with Photoshop and SketchUp and a lot of 3D tools and made the animation that you see here. It took me several months, and I showed it to some of the people that own and operate the bridge in San Francisco at Caltrans. And they're not really known as an artist-friendly organization, but they got quite excited when I showed them this and thought, well, maybe we can get a permit to do this. I thought it would probably never happen because of the complexity of the site. But it was a very exciting process. So this is where we started. It's one thing to do it in Photoshop, but a whole other thing to go and encounter the bridge. So they took me up on a cable walk. They gave me a harness with a small shock absorber, so if I did fall off, I wouldn't break my spine. And we started walking up, and it was, it was a moment of awe, but also a moment of abject terror and vertigo. But I was, once I got over that, I was just overwhelmed by the beauty that I saw there of the, the motion, the clouds, the shadow, and all that activity. And I thought, if I can channel what I'm seeing here into the sequencing of this piece, it could be extremely exciting. So I couldn't wait to talk to my programmer about how to do this. So it was 2.5 years from the initial idea to finally realizing the project. We made a documentary about this called Impossible Light, which tells the story. And I think it's very important to demystify these things and make it accessible so that others can follow. And many artists, including Christo, were very supportive of me. And Christo wrote me a letter of support for this project. And he knew how important monumental public art could be for cities. So we took something in San Francisco, like the Bay Bridge, that people took for granted. And through the addition of these 25,000 lights, really transformed the perception of the bridge and made it something that it was this combination of software, light, infrastructure. It created this focal point, but it's also abstract. There are no images, there's no text in my work. So you can look at it and see something new in it every time. And it's very subjective. So quite exciting to be able to put this out in a place that tens, if not hundreds of millions of people could see. So meanwhile, people, leaders in London were taking notice. They had a problem. The historic bridges in London over the Thames would disappear into the darkness at night, as you see here, or were very inadequately illuminated. So they launched an international competition called Illuminated River. Over 100 teams submitted proposals, and I was selected. We made these animations. We wanted to create a ribbon of light along the Thames that would link the bridges into one single artwork. So it was quite exciting to think about the Thames as a place of creativity that inspired artists like Turner and Monet and Whistler, and even Handel, who composed water music over 300 years ago to be played for the king on barges in the river. So, and people had kind of forgotten about the waterfront in London and kind of ignored it. So this was an opportunity to really reimagine things. So in 2019, we launched the first phase of the project, starting with London Bridge. Suddenly, the beauty of the bridges was revealed. They became activated by dynamic patterns of light. Instead of these dark places that pedestrians would rush through, the bridges became meditative focal points that encouraged contemplative moments within the center of an ancient city. The second phase of the project was launched in 2022, just as the UK was coming out of the countrywide quarantine. This was kind of perfect pandemic art, and that anyone could go out and see it. It's free and available to everyone. And it really was the symbol of resilience, public art at its best, free and available to all. These installations add a 21st century element of animated light to the stately and traditional city. I couldn't have imagined that lessons learned by getting lost out in the desert would have led to these monumental public artworks that have the power to transform cities where they're installed. These projects are free for all to enjoy and bring us together around what I think of as digital campfires. They create a sense of wonder and celebrate our connection to one another. And I've learned that it's hard to go back once something has been profoundly transformed. The Bay Lights was meant as a temporary project, beloved by the community, to keep it going. But unfortunately, it was not constructed as a permanent piece and was turned off because of technical issues last year. But the Bay Lights was not forgotten. Community organizers harnessed the love for the project and were able to raise funds. And I'm happy to tell you that the lights will be turned on again next year and will shine brightly for another 10 years. So I hope you all will have a chance to come out and see the lights in San Francisco. And thank you again. I'm very deeply honored to be here and appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Leo. It's my honor to present you with the Genius Award.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Leo, I have one question for you. So like in the Bay Lights project, is there a periodicity to how the lights go, or is it random?
It's all non-repeating. I mean, there are many layers that are all being dynamically recombined. So that's the way we found to kind of shuffle the deck and have it be, it's not generative, so it's not creating new things that I've never seen before, although I'm starting to explore that in some of my other work. But it's a way to keep to make the work livable so you can see it day in and day out for years and years and years and feel like you're seeing something new and different in it.
Thank you so much. Let's give a hand to Leo. Thanks.